Hello guys and welcome to round 6 of the Oceania Racing League. We're here in Hungary for the Division 2 race. This is going to be a very exciting race. We have 16 drivers and the Hungary ring, it's one of the shortest circuits on the calendar, so might be a chaotic race, but we'll see what happens. We got dry skies and I think everyone's in a good mood to be racing today, so let's just see who comes out first for short qualifying, which is 18 minutes. Everybody's probably just loading in their setups, getting ready to go out. I'll get the standings up and I can run through them before we get going, so you can get an idea of who is looking to maintain the lead in the championship and the constructors. We'll just get this sorted, so let's put the track map on. Here we are, and why not there. Alright, so let's see who's first out. We got the Alfa Romeo. That is Chunkarel, I believe. Yes, Chunkarel. Let's ride on board with him. So this circuit depends on how much you've been practicing, but generally it's one of the sometimes it can get quite a bit tricky in the high-speed turns, like that one Chunk just went through. You can easily lose the car if you don't have your traction control on, so all the drivers will be looking to keep control of their cars while going through on their quali laps. Quite a few drivers coming out now. There's only 2 in the pits, but everyone's going to be looking to set their first quali laps in. And generally in qualifying, we see lap times getting faster and faster as we approach the end of qualifying. Chunk now coming around the final few corners to start his first flying lap of qualifying. Let's see how he does. Coming down the main straight, DRS wide open. Goes a bit downhill down that main straight, and then it's a long right-hander. Gets on the throttle nice and easy. You have to use all the track here, staying on the right side and then cutting back to the left, and then swinging across the apex to get ready for this next corner here. And then this is the tricky corner I was talking about before, this high-speed left-hander. Oh, and he loses it, and that's Chunk out of the session. Just as I was talking about how tricky that corner was, he's already out of the session now. And what about the cars behind? They're gonna now have to dodge that Alfa Romeo. ISO Skits just went through. Du Bois, Luke coming through now. They're all on their final laps, so might distract them a bit with the car sitting in the middle of the track. Very unfortunate for Chunk there. He was reserving, so that means that he's gonna be starting from near the back of the grid. But let's ride on board with Du Bois, Luke, for the rest of his lap. He's got some traffic ahead of him, but hopefully they either get out of the way or are fast enough to just maintain a nice gap. Coming through entering the last sector. Is that another car out? That is ISO Skits in the other McLaren. I'm not sure what happened there, but meanwhile Du Bois, Luke setting purple sectors in sector 2. Around the final few corners now. Let's see if he can put it on provisional pole. Meanwhile, J-Man sets of 118.0 to take provisional pole, and he seems to be keeping that. Du Bois, Luke going second with a 118.1, 1/10 behind, and Gordo in the Mercedes going third. All the drivers are putting their lap times in now. So be good to see who's fast in this lobby. Someone in the chat is requesting to look at J-Man, so let's ride on board with him, wherever he is. Now, where's J-Man? Where's J-Man? Am I blind or... No, I don't think he's in the lobby. Anyways, let's we got Bean here, riding on board with him. He's on his outlap, hasn't put in any times yet. Sorry, I was blind before. J-Man's actually first on his in lap, I believe. Now he's going to come into the pits, but let's jump back to Bean, who is on his flying lap coming down the main straight. Coming down that hill there into the long right-hander. Let's see if Bean can beat his teammate Dabitup in the Haas. Coming around the long right-hander, going down this little straight here, using all of the track, hugging that apex, and then has to quickly flick to the left side to make a nice exit on that turn. Let's see how he handles this corner up here that Chunk retired on. It's very nice from Bean. Using all of the track there. Coming into this right-hander chicane, which can be a bit tricky sometimes if you take too much of the curb. Looks like a pretty decent lap Bean is setting here. He might be able to jump his teammate in the timings. These are quite a few long corners that you have to take at pretty high speeds, but he did that all nice and fast. Coming into the last sector now. There's a long left-hander we saw in the actual F1 race. Max Verstappen spinning out on the exit there. Let's see if any drivers get caught out in that corner in the race. But meanwhile, Bean coming around the last corner went a bit wide, but it's a pretty solid lap. Let's see where Bean goes. Up into third. That is a quality lap from Bean. Only 2/10 behind from P1. There is a Mercedes coming out. That is Gordo coming out for his second flying lap. He's filled up the car with a bunch of fuel, and now he's going to be trying again to set an even better lap. There's also an Alfa Romeo out now. That is Jacob, who is also on a flying lap. 1 second behind though on his previous lap, so not looking to be the best of laps. But let's see if he can fix it up here in the last few corners. There's yellow flags out. That looks to be an AlphaTauri. I believe it is Stick AU. I'm not sure what happened there. Might have just gotten on the throttle too quickly in the last corner. He has set a lap though, but he's last currently with a 1:19.5, 1.5 seconds behind P1. But there's still 10 minutes left in this session, so there's plenty of time to set a good lap in to get a good starting spot for the race today. Let's jump back to Gordo, who I was talking about before, who's nearly done with his outlap. He'll be looking to improve. His teammate Lindsay Games, who reserved in this race last minute, but Lindsay won't be using his wheel today, so it'll be interesting to see how Lindsay does. And that's Lindsay, I believe, spinning in the background just that I was talking about. Lindsay not using a wheel today. Unfortunate for Lindsay, but let's see how Gordo does here, and he's already spun. Got on the throttle way too early there into the long right-hander of turn 1, and that stuffed up his second flying lap. But as I said before, there's still plenty of time to set a good lap in here. Let's just make sure Gordo moves out the way for all the cars coming up behind. See, there's Alfa Romeo rounding the final corner now. That is Jacobs coming into the pits. I believe Jacobs only set one flying lap with a 1:19.5, but he will definitely be looking to improve on that lap, because there's a 1.5 second gap to P1. Let's put on the telemetry so you can take a look at how drivers are really going around this circuit. The Red Bull of Jules Daniel on a flying lap his first lap. Jules Daniel is a pretty special driver because he usually only needs one lap to secure a good spot in qualifying. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. Looks like he's got a bit of dirt on the side of his car, might have gone off before. Rounding the final few corners now. Let's see if Jules can put it up into the top 5 or even on provisional pole. DRS wide open, down to the line, and he does go on provisional pole with a 1:17.0. That's a 1 second gap between P1 and P2. That is a cracker of a lap from Jules Daniel. J-Man will definitely be looking to beat Jules Daniel, and J-Man is actually on a flying lap right now, on his second flying lap. The Ferraris in P2 and P3, they're looking to have a pretty strong qualifying session today, but let's see if J-Man can improve that by taking pole. Going a bit wide in that fast left-hander that we saw Chunk retire in. Goes a bit wide again, takes all that curb. It's not looking to be the best of laps here. There's plenty of opportunities to either improve your lap or set another one. With 8 minutes left, I think he would definitely be able to get another lap in, so it's not all hope lost for him. He's actually invalidated his lap, so he'll be coming into the pits now probably to fuel up again and head out. As I said before, I will get the standings up for Div so we can see who we really need to pay attention to, for who needs to perform well today to either maintain the lead in the standings or to overtake a driver ahead of them. So in the constructors standings for Div 2 we have Red Bull on 43 points. Red Bull on 129 points, followed by McLaren on 99 points. So Red Bull, Jules Daniel has been carrying that Red Bull through all these rounds, getting points for Red Bull, so he'll also be looking to maintain some points for this race so he can maintain the constructors. Let's have a look at the drivers' championship now though. Meanwhile, we do have some yellow flags. I believe that is a Haas, maybe Bean OC, who might have spun in that the middle of sector 2 there, but he was on a fine lap. He's probably going to come back into the pits now though. Anyways, as I was talking about before, the driver standings, we got Jules Daniel in the lead on 80 points, and only 2 points behind is I'm a Nubatron, who unfortunately is not at the race today. So that will be if Jules Daniel can get a good lead in terms of points in round 6, it'll be very hard for I'm a Nubatron to get back at Jules. And there are yellow flags there. I think that's just the AlphaTauri going slowly to let some cars by. Meanwhile, we ride on with DeBoy Luke here, who's on a flying lap, maybe his second or third one, using all of the exit there, coming around the long, fast turns of the end of sector 2. And there's a yellow flag. That seems to be a Red Bull that's spun. That Zippy Bumper, who luckily hasn't retired but probably has damage, who will need to come back into the pits now. Hopefully Zippy doesn't block any other cars that are coming around on their fine lap. Zippy has lost all his front wing there, so we'll have to get that repaired in the garage. We've got 5 minutes left now, so let's see who can take pole in round 6 of the Oceania Racing League in Division 2. Jules Daniel currently going on his out lap again, and as I said before, he only needed 1 lap to take provisional pole, but he might be able to improve that lap even more. Let's see how he does coming around the last sector now, and that's a McLaren that has spun. I think it was DeBoy Luke. Maybe DeBoy Luke's just going slowly, which caused some yellow flags, which often happens in this game. Let's go back to Jules Daniel, who is starting his flying lap, coming around the final corner now, taking it nice and wide so he can carry as much speed as he can through the main straight. Went a bit wide there, but his lap hasn't been invalidated. He's still going. Meanwhile, there's a McLaren I can see in the track map who spun in that fast left-hander like Chunk did. But we go back to Jules Daniel, who's coming down this little straight here into the long left-hander. He needs to get a good exit here so it can set him up for the next turn. It's very well done from Jules Daniel there. Let's see how he navigates through this corner here, using all of the track and all of the curb there. You also have to be careful in this corner here, especially in F122. The curbs can spin you out, just as I was saying before, and he does spin on the curves. I'm like guessing what's happening today before it like 5 seconds before it happens. Probably the commentator's curse, but Jules Daniel spun out on that lap there, probably pushing too hard, and he spins out again, and that's Jules Daniel out of the session. But luckily for him, he has put on provisional pole. So now all the other drivers, sorry, I was talking about Ivan Nubatron before. I said he couldn't make the race today, but he actually is here. I'm just a bit blind today. But anyways, Ivan Nubatron in P2. That will give him a very good chance to get pole back from Jules Daniel and get a lead in the Drivers' Championship. But this will be looking like a very exciting battle in the race between Jules Daniel and Ivan Nubatron for the Drivers' Championship. Getting some yellow flags. That might be a Mercedes going slowly, or maybe spun, but J-Man here coming on a flying lap. Let's see if J-Man can improve. Before, on his last flying lap, he didn't do that well, went a bit wide, and he's invalidated his lap again. Very disappointing for J-Man. He'll be very disappointed in himself, but he is starting P4 at the moment, which is a pretty solid qualifying position. and he can probably gain more positions during the race. And his teammate Charles Leclerc is just behind him in P5. So there'll be a Ferrari battle going on. Meanwhile, the De Boy Luke McLaren going a bit wide there on his flying lap. Let's go back to Imanubatron, who is still in the pit lane. I'm not sure if Imanubatron is going to be coming back out to set another qualifying lap. There's not much time left in this session. We'll jump back to Imanubatron later if he does ever come out. Let's see who's gonna start some qualifying laps now. That's J-Man, who didn't actually come back into pits. He's just gonna go for another flying lap straight away. Let's see if he can improve. I think this is his 4th flying lap. You know, there's some yellow flags. It seems to be an Aston Martin. Let's quickly jump up to... Sorry, I didn't realize before, but Laker fans actually gone into P2. But Laker fans in the gravel right now. Not sure what happened there. I didn't realize, but Laker fans actually put a very solid lap in there. 117.1, only 1/10 behind. Nearly stole pole from Jules Daniel. That's a surprising lap from Laker fan. Wasn't expecting him to be that high up in the qualifying timings, but he's lost all his front wings, so he'll be coming back into the pits. So that's... Oh, that's a Ferrari. That is Charles Leclerc, who's spun out there. Still has his front wing. Let's see if he blocks the cars behind him, which he gets out the way nicely for them. We don't have that much time left in the session, 1 minute 30. Let's jump aboard all the cars that are coming around the final corners now, seeing if they can improve. Dassop coming into the pits. There is an Aston Martin though, and a Ferrari coming around the final sector. They're all coming into the pits. Let's see if anyone's actually going to be setting a lap here. I think that's Mercedes, probably Gordo. Yeah, Gordo coming around on a fine lap. 5/10 up. Let's see if Gordo can improve. Currently in P11. Where does Gordo go in the timings? Gordo goes up to P4. That's a quality lap from Gordo, but still 9/10 behind from Jules Daniel in the Red Bull. There's also a couple other cars coming around the final corners now. I think that's Zippy Bumper in the Red Bull, but 5 seconds behind. Zippy Bumper won't be improving on that lap. And that's De Boy Luke out of this session. Not sure what happened for De Boy Luke, but that hasn't been the best day for McLaren. Both McLaren's going out in qualifying, so let's see if they can, as I was saying, let's see if they can improve their results in the race. But OC Extra just spinning on that fine lap there. Disappointing for him. He'll be starting P10 just in the points. Got 19 seconds left. There's an AlphaTauri around the final corner. Stick AU, who is on his outlap. He's just going to get to the line before the timings go out. Let's jump aboard with Stick AU and see if he can improve his timings in round 6 of the Oceania Racing League. Uses all the curb there in turn 1, coming down the small straight here into the left-hander. Let's turn on our telemetry. Coming down all the way into gear 3. There's some yellow flags ahead. And 2 Haas's up there. One of them spun, but he gets through them nicely into the fast left-hander. Uses all the track. He nearly invalidated his lap there, but luckily he is still going. Charles Leclerc retiring from the session in the meantime. Not sure what happened with Charles Leclerc, but we're riding above the Stick AU now, who is the one to watch at the end of this qualifying session. The Haas getting nicely out the way for Stick. Let's see how he does here. 47 100s up, so he is in green delta right now, so he will be improving, but by how much, that is the question. Coming around the final few corners and down the last sector. Let's see where Stick puts his car for the start of the race in Budapest. Coming down the main straight now. Let's see how much he improves, but he stays P10, ends up going 3/10 behind his previous lap. I believe that's all drivers now done with their qualifying session. It'll be over any second now. Maybe there's some more cars in their flying laps, I'm not sure. I think they're all either in the pits or finished, so I think those are our results for today. Jules Daniel, even though he retired, managed to get P1 to start the race on pole in Hungary. It was a very good lap from him, but unfortunate for Imanubatron and Laker fan, they were only 1/10 and 53 hundredths behind So they could have easily snatched pole, but it will be Ivan Ubitron will be looking to get to take P1 either into turn 1 or lap 1 of the race, or he can play the long game in the race and either get his pit stop strategy correct or just have good pace in the race and overtake Duels Daniel. But let's have a look at the timings here. So we have Duels Daniel, sorry, 1,000ths behind is Ivan Ubitron, so it was actually more close than I thought it was. It's crazy how close these two drivers are in the Oceania Racing League. Very similar level in which they drive. Chunkrell starting from the back with ISO Skits and the McLaren, who both are tied. Got the Ferraris in P6 and P7, who had a decent qualifying session. Let's see if they can improve their results in the race. "20 seconds before we have the start of the formation lap, which we are testing today. Usually it's been quite glitchy in the past, but F1 has stated in their recent patch notes that it has been fixed. We'll see if we can get a proper formation lap in today. But if it doesn't work, I'll just reset the lobby and we can try again with no formation lap. So here we go for the formation lap. Duels Daniel starting on pole. All the drivers will be looking to warm up their tyres. But I've noticed in this league, lots of drivers, they're not that good at driving close to each other, both in formation laps and safety cars, so they just need to maintain their distance so they don't disqualify themselves, because then they will be starting on cold tyres. Let's run through the grid for today. We have Duels Daniel starting on pole with a good lap from him, and let's actually look at the pit stop strategy first. Most drivers starting on mediums, then going to hards. We go to the tyres that they're on. All drivers are on mediums, which is the predicted pit stop strategy, and then they will be transitioning to hards. But some safety cars could, change the strategies in this race, so it'll be exciting to see what happens. So let's go through the grid. So we've got Ivan Ubitron in P2, who also had a great lap, but unfortunately couldn't snatch pole from Duels Daniel. Laker fan, surprising lap from him. P3, one of the best results for Aston Martin this whole season. Starting behind him is Bean OCE in the Haas. He's also had a great qualifying. Gordo, who managed to get P5, going from P10 to P5 in qualifying. We've got the two Ferraris behind him of J-Man and Charles Leclerc, who will be looking to not take each other out on the start here. Zippy Bumper in the Red Bull, who's put his car in P8, who will be probably the number 2 driver in this race for Duels Daniel, because he is the priority here for Red Bull to be getting good points. Both the Red Bulls in the points and the Ferrari, so they'll be looking to get more points than the constructors, and Ferrari's actually in P2 in the constructors, so kind of is a battle for the constructors here. We got Dubois Luke in the McLaren, just behind them Stick AU in the AlphaTauri, OC Extra, who had a bit of a tricky qualifying session, spinning a lot. Jacob in the Alfa Romeo, Datsup in the Haas, Lindsay Games, ISO Skits and Chunk. Lots of drivers disqualified from the formation lap for parking it incorrectly, but it does work today. We are having a proper formation lap and a proper race start. We got 5 lights and they go out. Duels Daniel starting on pole. He gets off the grid nicely. Ivan Ubitron coming alongside him. Ivan Ubitron's already in the lead. It's a great start for Ivan Ubitron. It's Laker fan in P3 now. Will be trying to go on the long way around the outside. It's a Haas coming down the inside of them, and the Ferrari in the middle who splits them. Let's jump up to the front here with Ivan Ubitron, who did take the lead. The Aston Martin's down in P3 and Duels Daniel's in P2. As I said before, Ivan Ubitron was looking to get P1 into turn 1 there. The Haas is going side by side, and that's J-Man spinning out. That was contact between them. Not sure what happened there. Possible dispute later in the race. Imanubitron has a decent lead out front. Like a fan, all the drivers got decent gaps between them. Let's see. Oh, it's actually a safety car here. All the drivers slowing down. Let's jump to the interval gaps. We can see, so we can see who's close to each other for possible overtakes in the future. But we do have a safety car, I believe. No drivers. Oh, J-Man and Dabatup have retired. I thought J-Man could keep on driving, but unfortunate for him, he has retired from this session. Let's jump back up to the front. What a start from Ivanubitron, who took P1 going to turn 1 of this race. He just came off his grid slot nice and easily, and that's... Oh, I thought Jules Daniel was coming to the pits for a second there, but they're all staying out. Let's see if anyone actually comes into the pits here for damage. Looks like all the drivers are staying out. Oh, that is Chunk Harrell coming into the pits. Doesn't look like he has much of a front wing there. Let's see what tyre he goes on to. He's the only one coming into the pits here. He's the only, Jacob is in P10, so he'll be looking to get points for Alfa Romeo today, because he's the leading Alfa Romeo driver in this race currently. Chunkarell looked to have a penalty there, because he was paused in the grid, or maybe that was just them replacing the front wing, not quite sure. But he does have a new front wing now, and the safety car will allow him to catch up to the rest of the grid, so he does have a good chance of getting points, because there are only 14 drivers in this race, so the top 10 are getting points. Meanwhile, we're jumping back up to Imanubitron, who will be keeping his tyres warm for this race start. It'll be a very exciting safety car restart here. Let's see if Jules Daniel can turn the tables and take take P1 back from Imanubitron after he stole it on lap 1. Let's run through the rest of the grid, see who's jumped up in the position. So we got Imanubitron, he's just gone 1 place up. Jules Daniel going 1 down. The 2 drivers behind them keeping their positions. And then P5, 6 and 7 have all moved 2 places up, with Gordo moving down 3. Not the best start from him, but there's 35 laps in this race, so there's always a chance to pull your race back together and get good points for your team. Lots of drivers moving up in the positions here. Lindsay Games, who's on controller for this race, who usually drives on wheel, has actually been doing pretty well. P11 for Lindsay. Arthur Skits in P12, who had a pretty shocking qualifying session, but has moved up 3 spots. OC Extra moving down 2 into P13. And we got Chunkarell, who now has a new front wing. He's actually gone onto the hard tyres. Chunkarell probably looking to change to the soft tyres near the end of this race, because I'm not sure if those hard tyres are going to last the whole race. All the drivers are weaving to warm up their tyres, because in this game it is very important you get your tyre temperatures right, because having cold tyres can mean difference from maintaining your position or even overtaking a couple other drivers, or falling back behind all the other drivers because you're restarting on cold tyres. Got the Aston Martin safety car out today, shining in the sun of Budapest, and so far only 2 drivers have retired, which is actually a pretty good improvement from the first couple races in the RL, where we sometimes ended up with only 2 drivers finishing at the end. So it's actually a pretty good turnout after 3 laps, how many drivers are still in the race. So as I mentioned before, Jules Daniel is in the lead in the standings right now, in the driver standings, with Imanubitron just behind him. So a win from Imanubitron here could put him quite a few points ahead in the standings, and that will just leave a bit more pressure on Jules Daniel to get good points in our final few rounds before we have the last race of the season. Safety car is in this lap. All the drivers are warming up their tyres. Let's see if Imanubitron gets a good restart here. That's a yellow flag. Sticker user retired from this session for some reason. Might have been in contact. Not quite sure what happened, but we are focusing on Imanubitron and Jules Daniel right now. They are the people we want to be watching. both the Mercedes P8 and P9. They will be looking to not take each other out like Charles Leclerc and J-Man did. But we're coming around the final corner now. Nuvatron has gotten away nicely. Jules Daniel right behind a bit. Laker Fan has gotten a good restart. Who's just behind Jules Daniel. Lots of cars coming around. There's a big gap between DuBois, Luke and Zippy Bumper. And that's the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc trying to get down the inside of Bean OC. And Bean OC has hit Laker Fan. But luckily Laker Fan hasn't spun out there. He's just lost a bunch of time and possibly a few positions there. And that is the Haas being spun out by Charles Leclerc, I believe. Unfortunate for the Haas. That's Laker Fan in P4 at the moment. Let's jump back to the rest of the grid. The Mercedes going wide there. Gordo in that high-speed right-hander at the end of Sector 1. Let's jump up to the front of the grid here. Jules Daniel just behind Nuvatron. Let's see if he can maintain this position or this gap before DRS gets activated. And that's is that the Red Bull spinning out? Yes, it is. Zippy Bumper spinning out. Not sure what happened. Meanwhile, there's the Alfa Romeo going side by side with the McLaren, I believe, and the Alpine. Lots of action and chaos going on. Jules Daniel only 2/10 behind. If he can save up his ERS, he might be able to get past on this main straight here. These two drivers are two of the best ones we have in this league. You can see there's already a decent gap between Jules Daniel and Charles Leclerc. Jules Daniel setting the fastest lap of the race, just behind Nuvatron, but they're both going to be looking to use their ERS, so I think Jules Daniel will have to wait for DRS to be activated. Meanwhile, Bean OC moving up a place, because that's Jacob and Chunkrell in the pits. Both Alfa Romeos doing a double stack. Chunkrell's already been in the pits, so he must have gotten damaged again. Quite a disappointing race for him. Let's see what other action we have going on here. ISO Skits only 5/10 behind the Alpine, the OC Extra. He'll be looking to get past as well. We have to wait 3 laps after the safety car here to get DRS, and that's actually Charles Leclerc, who's lost his front wing. Not quite sure what happened to him. That's both Ferraris who qualified well, but now are either out of this race or at the very bottom. Gordo only 3/10 behind DuBois Luke, who goes wide, possibly front wing damage for Gordo because he went wide, but his front wing looks to be fine, so maybe just stuffed up that corner and went a bit wide, but he'll be looking to get past here on the straight. Both the Mercedes in P5 and 6. It's been a pretty good race for the Mercedes so far, who've moved up in the spots. Gordo just behind DuBois Luke will be looking to get past in the next straight here. We've got Jules Daniel again, only 2/10 behind. Nuvatron, who's gaining and gaining and gaining every lap. Will he send it to turn 1? Takes a wise decision not to. But DRS is activated now, so I believe he will have DRS on the next main straight. Meanwhile, Gordo only 2/10 behind, is nearing on DuBois Luke. Let's see if he can get past them at some point in this race. All the drivers will be looking to get good positions before they jump into the pits, because with unsafe pit releases off, that means that you'll want to get a good entry into the pits and not be you know, with a bunch of other drivers. Meanwhile, that's Lindsay Games, who has spun or maybe has been hit, but yet again Lindsay Games is on controller, so that is understandable. Can be a bit hard there. Nuvatron still maintaining the lead. Jules Daniel just behind, a 1.8 gap between Laker Fan and Jules Daniel. So this, unless there's a safety car, it looks like the battle for the win today is just between Jules Daniel and Nuvatron. DRS on this next straight here. Let's see what Jules Daniel can do. Coming around the final corner now. Probably using his ERS and DRS. Meanwhile, ISO Skits gets past OC Extra. Laker Fan sitting the fastest lap. But Jules Daniel doesn't seem to be close enough to get the lead from Nuvatron. And neither on this straight either. Let's see what action we have at the rest of the grid. Gordo AU is in the lead of the both Mercedes right now after Lindsay Games spun out, so he'll be looking to get some good points from Mercedes. Both the McLarens are also doing well. I forgot to mention that. P4 and P5. It's a good day for McLaren. We got Bean, OCE, only 2/10 behind the Alpine, who's been close for most of this race. Nearly lost it there. I could see the back wheels spinning out, and meanwhile we have yellow flags of Charlotte, who spun in the final corner. Let's jump up to the front of the grid. We have Gordo just behind the McLaren. Probably the best battle we're watching right now. Meanwhile, Dawes Daniels just behind Ivan Ubertron, who will try and get past on this next straight here. What a battle we're seeing between these two. And Laker Fan, who did set the fastest lap before, is within DRS range, or was within DRS range just before. So he will get DRS on this next straight. So maybe Laker Fan could win this race. But meanwhile, we have Dawes Daniel going down the inside, got the DRS wide open. We'll send it down the inside into turn 1. Ivan Ubertron takes the wise decision and just lets him past, because Ivan Ubertron will get another chance to get past. Dawes Daniel does get DRS down this little straight, so Ivan Ubertron won't get past here, but maybe on the next lap. Meanwhile, Gordo's gotten past the boy Luke. Didn't see that happen because we were focusing on Dawes Daniel. But let's see if the boy Luke can get past Gordo. Bean OCE has also gotten past Bean has also gotten past OCE Extra, which we missed because we were focusing on Dawes Daniel. But quite a few battles going on at the moment. We got a 3-car battle between Laker Fan, Ivan Ubertron, and Dawes Daniel. What a battle we're seeing between these three. They're all very close between each other, so we could potentially have a situation where they're going 3 wide into turn 1. But we'll see what happens now. Charlotte sets the fastest lap, who's moved on to soft tyres. Let's flip back to the stops. Only the bottom 3 cars have stopped, likely because they've gotten damage. It'll be interesting to see if anyone goes for some undercuts here. Coming down onto the main straight here, let's see what Ivan Ubertron can do on Dawes Daniel and Laker Fan can do on Ivan Ubertron. Dawes Daniel getting a bit jiggly on the exit there. They're very close to each other. The 2 cars behind him, DRS wide open. Ivan Ubertron sending it down the inside into turn 1. And like Ivan Ubertron did before, Dawes Daniel just backing out of that, because he will get DRS on this straight here. No, he actually won't. Ivan Ubertron getting DRS, but Laker Fan just behind them, who is gaining on them as they're battling and losing time. What a battle. Ivan Ubertron back into the lead, and I reckon in this race they're just going to be swapping positions every single lap. Let's go to OC Extra, who has gotten past the boy Luke, I believe. Both the McLarens were next to each other before, but now they're separated by 2 cars in the middle. Lindsay Games and Jacob coming into the pits. Jacob getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Maybe they're going for an undercut, or they've gotten damage. Dawes Daniel nearly sent it down the inside there. Just flicked back to this battle as that was happening, but took the wise decision not to, because they're in this race for the long. There's 35 laps, so you know they don't want to be too aggressive in the first 10 laps, which is the mistake I often make. I often retire in lap 1, so you need to take it nice and easy on the first couple laps, and then just have good pace and good strategy, and that will get you the points. Dawes Daniel going down the inside on Ivan Ubertron, and he's got that move done. As I said before, they're just going to be swapping positions every lap, but they're going side by side now. Ivan Ubertron on the outside, going into the next corner here, the long left-hander, but just backs out of it as Dawes Daniel maintains the lead. They're approaching Jacob now, who will be showing the blue flags. Her ghosting is on, so they probably won't have to worry about that. The boy Luke will be trying to get that position back from OC Extra, who took it from him a couple laps earlier, but he is out of DRS range. Let's see what other data we can get from our spectator menu here. Meanwhile, we're getting some yellow flags. That is McLaren of ISO Skits, I believe, who has spun out not once but twice, and that will get his teammate the boy Luke to come ahead of him. But we are now rounding the final corner, and this battle continues between the top 3 drivers for the lead. Let's see if Laker Fan can actually do something here, because he's getting the double slipstream, so he will get quite a bit of pace because they're all in equal performance. Ivan Ubertron not quite close enough to send it down the inside, but he will get another opportunity here on this straight. Meanwhile, Laker Fan is just behind Ivan Ubertron. Let's flick on that telemetry so we can have a look at the ERS of all these cars. Laker Fan still got 90% in his power unit. Ivan Ubertron on 63 and Jules Daniel on 84, so they're all conserving their ERS, probably saving it for that straight when they're all going to be trying to get past each other. We're just waiting for the cars to start pitting now, because I think it's around about now that they should be coming into the pits for those hard tyres. The Mercedes of Lindsay Games is nearing on chunk, and as I'm flicking back, we just see Isoskits spinning out there. Probably just went either too hard on his throttle or some other reason, but we can't focus on that right now when we have this amazing battle up front there. Now on lap 11, coming down the main straight, it's been the same every time, but this time Laker Fan has actually gotten a good exit. He's got his ERS deployed, but unfortunately Ivan Ubertron also has his ERS and DRS deployed. Ivan Ubertron setting it down the inside on Jules Daniel, but Jules Daniel getting the better exit there, and he maintains the lead. We also have yellow flags there. I believe that is Isoskits, who spun out again. Not the best race for him. Let's see what other battles we have going on here. Lindsay Games just behind Chunk, who will possibly be trying to get P9 from Chunk on the next straight. Chunk playing it defensive and covering the inside line, but Lindsay Games, who is on control at the moment, has actually been performing pretty well in this race. So let's see if Lindsay Games can get past Chunk on this main straight here. And that's some yellow flags. I think that's just Jacob leaving the session, but let's focus on Lindsay Games right now, who's sending it down the inside on Chunk. Lindsay Games had the DRS. I think that's a bit of contact between the two. Will Chunk be able to get past here? No, he won't, because Lindsay Games has gone DRS. And as always, let's flick up to the top three cars here, who will be looking to take the lead on this straight. Jules Daniel has managed to maintain the lead for the past couple laps, but Ivan Ubertron is looking pretty close here on this lap. Ivan Ubertron sending it down the inside into turn 1. Laker Fan just behind, who also sends it down the inside of turn 1. Jules Daniel, losing out. They're going 3 wide here, and that's Ivan Ubertron being squeezed out wide. He's gone into the barrier there, and that's Laker Fan in the lead. Laker Fan from P3 up into P1. We got Ivan Ubertron, who possibly is damaged there, but let's focus on Jules Daniel going around the outside into this high-speed left-hander, who gets the move done. That's Ivan Ubertron with no front wing there. That's very unfortunate for him, and could possibly play a big part in the championship standings. So now it's just up to Laker Fan to challenge Jules Daniel for the win. Ivan Ubertron will probably be pitting now onto the hards and a new front wing. Let's go to the stops so we can pay attention to when people start coming in. We've got 12 drivers in the race at the moment, so there's still plenty of action that could happen. Gordo's gone up into 3rd because Ivan Ubertron has damage. And that's Laker Fan. I wasn't spectating there, sorry, but that's Jules Daniel into the pits, as I was talking about before, the undercut. But Laker Fan's probably going to pit this next lap to try and avoid the undercut from Jules Daniel. Let's see how this pit stop goes for Jules Daniel. Very decent pit stop, and that is Ivan Ubertron just in the background getting his new front wing. But let's jump up to Laker Fan, who will be looking to get a good pit stop so he can maintain the lead from Jules Daniel. Jules Daniel on cold tyres now. He'll be looking to get a very good outlap out of these pits, warming them up so he can possibly jump Laker Fan. So quite a few drivers have come into the pits now. Some have even stopped twice. Zippy Bumper and the boy Luke, OC Extra, Bean, Gordo and Laker Fan probably all coming to the pits this lap or in the few laps to come. Not many drivers are close together at the moment, so let's just stick with Laker Fan as he comes into the pits. That's a surprising decision from Laker Fan. He doesn't go into the pits. He must feel strong on these tyres, as he did set the fastest lap before, so he probably has good pace in these tyres. Is that the fastest lap from Laker Fan? As I see purple on my track map below. On old tyres, yes it is, 121.0. Laker Fan has set the fastest lap. That is probably going to be a bit concerning for Duels Daniel, who was going to go for the undercut, but Laker Fan setting fastest laps. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible. Let's also take a look at which tyres people are going on to now. Charles Leclerc going on to the softs, who is quite far back, so, you know, going with some unique strategies down there at the bottom, because they can always, you know, they might be able to work out. Zippy Bumper has passed Imanubitron, because Imanubitron maybe, not quite sure, maybe Imanubitron pitted for new tyres. Let's take a look at the positions gained here again. Gordo moving up 3, DeBoy Luke moving up 5, and that's Duels Daniel down 4, but yet again, most of the other drivers have not pitted yet, so he is probably in net P2. Let's take a look at the stops again. That's yellow flags. Not sure. That's Trunkarel retiring from the session. Either he's given up, or he might have just been taken out in the pits, going into the pits, because he does seem to be in the pits right now. Anyways, we have Zippy Bumper, who has Imanubitron just behind him. Imanubitron will be looking to do sort of a recovery drive here, after he got, you know, lost his front wing in that battle with Laker and Duels Daniel. The boy Luke getting past, or Duels Daniel getting past the boy Luke there. Let's jump up to the front of the grid now. Laker Fan, who is maintaining this lead. What a race we've seen from Laker Fan today. Who, as I said before, I thought Laker Fan wasn't going to get the win today, because the fight was mainly between Duels Daniel and Imanubitron. But surprisingly, Laker Fan has taken the lead. BNOC in P2 as well. But they both haven't stopped yet, so let's see what Duels Daniel can do here. If you add up all the timings, the gaps, Duels Daniel is 19 seconds behind, and I'm pretty sure the time lost in the pit lane is around 20 seconds. So it'll be very close in the exit between Laker Fan and Duels Daniel, but surely Laker Fan will be coming to the pits now. Yes, Laker Fan coming to the pits. Let's see if Laker Fan can get a good pit stop here. Laker Fan just needs to make sure not to get a time penalty. But that's Laker Fan going very slowly into the pit lane entry for some reason. That would have lost Laker Fan a bunch of time. Not quite sure what happened there. Let's see how Laker Fan does in this pit stop. Not a bad stop, but Duels Daniel rounding the final corner. I think Duels Daniel is going to get the jump on Laker Fan. Duels Daniel setting the fastest lap, and he's quite a long way ahead of Laker Fan. And this win looks to be secured for Duels Daniel unless Laker Fan can put in some good pace. But Laker Fan is on the faster, fresher tyres, so possibly they can get something done. But meanwhile, Lindsay Gaines retiring, not quite sure what happened there. That puts us down to 10 drivers in this race, so every driver getting points so far who's still currently driving, so it's just important that they all keep their race together and don't retire. So most drivers who are going for the one stop will just be looking to... Oh, that's actually a safety car, sorry, I didn't realise. That's a safety car, so all the drivers will be catching up to each other now. That will give Laker Fan a great chance to have another go at the lead. But unfortunate for Laker Fan though, because if Laker Fan just waited one more lap, they could have saved a bunch of time in that pit stop. But regardless, Laker Fan will be getting up close to Duels Daniel because of the safety car now. And Laker Fan is on the newer tyres, so they will have a pace advantage in terms of their tyres. Let's take a look at the bottom of the grid. We got Isoskits at the bottom, who has moved up 5 since the start of this race, but is still only in P10. Charles Leclerc P9. We got DeBoy Luke in P5, who is the leading McLaren in this race. Charlotte getting a 3-second time penalty to already add to their time penalties. Being OCE also getting a time penalty. Let's see. 3 seconds for Bean, 6 seconds for Charlotte. But considering this is strict corner cutting, I'm surprised that more drivers don't have time penalties. Because if either Lakerfan or Dulles Daniel gets a time penalty, it could be costly for them in their battle for the lead. I'm back, guys, and we're still on the safety car here. It's probably either going to come in this lap or next lap, but I have put a little poll in the chat there. You can vote for who is most likely to take the win today. I've put the top 4 drivers in, and I reckon the fan favourite today is probably going to be Dulles Daniel, who is in the lead currently, but that is the McLaren of Devoy Luke. Oh, sorry, the McLaren of Skits, who's actually separating the Aston Martin and the Red Bull, but maybe lap cars will be allowed to pass before the race start. We'll see what happens. Safety car not going in this lap, but will probably be going in this following lap here. Charlotte, I think they might have pitted for new tyres. They've gone from the softs to the hards, who will be trying to catch up before the safety car restart. All the drivers warming up their tyres. And that is Gordo, who spun. Not quite sure what happened for Gordo there. Either got hit or just with cold tyres just spun out of that turn 1 corner, but that has put Gordo, I think, down a few positions. So maybe Gordo's getting that position back from McLaren. All the drivers nice and compact now for this next race start. Charlotte is catching up pretty fast, so I think Charlotte will be able to catch up before we get this race restarted again. Let's have a look at the tyre age, because that is quite important on safety car restarts, especially when you're warming them up. So we got Skits down at the bottom in 6 laps, the most out of anybody, so not the best for Skits. They could have always pitted if they're considering they're at the back. But I am actually interested to see what's going to happen here with getting the lap cars past, because that could affect Lakerfan's race. But as I said before, Lakerfan is on the newer tyres, only 2 laps old. Meanwhile, Dulles Daniel on 5 lap old tyres. But because the hard tyres are meant for long distances, probably won't make that much of a difference, because all the drivers are either, around 2 to 5 lap old tyres. Safety car is in this lap, as race control just announced. Dulles Daniel will be looking to get a good safety car restart here. This is our 2nd safety car restart of this race on lap 19. We're roughly halfway through this race. We got Lakerfan just behind, and that is the McLaren for some reason, coming alongside Dulles Daniel. And that is McLaren spinning out in the back, and an Alpine, I believe. Not quite sure what happened there, but we got Lakerfan coming up behind Dulles Daniel. That McLaren, the lap car getting in the way there. We're going to be now down to 8 drivers because of those 2 retirements at the back. Not quite sure what happened. We got the Ferrari just behind the Mercedes there. The Ferrari sending it down the inside Charlotte chair on Gordo. Will he get this move done? He'll be taking the outside line in this corner, but Gordo gets the better exit there. But they're going side by side into this fast left-hander. Gordo stays just ahead, and that's Zippy Bumper just behind Charlotte, who will be looking to get past as well. Let's put our interval gap on so we can see where the battles are going on. Right now the battle spot is Zippy Bumper and Charlotte. Let's go up to the front again. Laker fan will be trying to stay within a 1 second gap from Dulles Daniel, so Laker fan can maintain that DRS. Because with if Dulles Daniel just keeps on deploying his ERS on the straights as he has been doing before, it will be pretty impossible to overtake without the help of DRS. That, on the safety car restart, those two drivers that retired, OC, Extra and DuBois Luke, those were the two drivers. Probably had contact with each other, but I'm still not quite sure what happened there. In the beginning I said that it was surprising that we didn't have more drivers that retired on that one, but now it is starting to look more like the Oceania Racing League with half the drivers out of this race. Laker fan 8 tenths behind, who has been maintaining that 8 tenths for a couple laps now. Got Gordo behind Ivan Ubertron got hit there when they were battling Dulles Daniel and Laker fan, had to pit for a new front wing, but Ivan Ubertron is back up into P3 on the podium places and is not that far behind Laker fan. That safety car would have helped drastically with that. And also that McLaren of Isoskits will be giving DRS to Ivan Ubertron to help catch up to Laker fan. Zippy Bumper also very close to Gordo. Same with Laker fan and Dulles Daniel. Let's jump up to Laker fan, who will be trying to get past in this next straight here, but Laker fan is 6 tenths behind. I think that might be just a bit too far to get the lead from Dulles Daniel, but you never know. With the ERS and DRS, something can be done maybe on this straight here. 3 tenths now, 2 tenths. The gap has closed a bit, but I've completely forgotten that DRS only is enabled 3 laps after safety car, so Laker fan on the next straight, on the next main straight on this lap or next lap will be looking to get past Dulles Daniel with the help of ERS. Meanwhile, we got Ivan Ubertron trying to get past that lap car of Isoskits, who has been shown the blue flags. Laker fan only 1 tenth behind. Well, 1 tenth behind. We got yellow flags for Charlotte Chair, who has probably spun out there. Laker fan getting a much better exit out of that corner, but Dulles Daniel playing it defensive there and covering most of the tracks, which left Laker fan nowhere to go. So they just played it wise and stuck behind. There's already a 2 second gap between Laker fan and Ivan Ubertron, so let's see if Ivan Ubertron can actually try and snatch back P2 or even P1 by the end of this race. That aerial view there, you can get a good indication of the gaps between all the drivers, and the two drivers that are closest together right now is definitely Laker fan and Dulles Daniel. Laker fan will be looking to get past on this main straight here with the help of DRS. Going down into turn 1, just as a bit too far back to get that moved on. There's a second straight here with the help of DRS. But Dulles Daniel just seems to be maintaining a decent gap between him and the car behind, and if this stays the same for every lap, then Dulles Daniel will be looking to win here, but Laker fan is really close behind right now going into this fast left-hander. So if Dulles Daniel doesn't get these, and that's Laker fan who's spun out. What a shame for Laker fan. Ivan Ubertron going up into P2, and that has eased the pressure off Dulles Daniel, who will not be worrying about Laker fan behind, but Ivan Ubertron might be able to contest for the lead here. After that spin, Laker fan is in P5. P5 still decent points, but not as good as the points would have been for P2 or P1. Zippy Bumper nearing on the exhaust pipe of Gordo. Zippy Bumper possibly getting past on this main straight here. Meanwhile, Bean OCE has spun out, and I think Bean OCE has caused that safety car. That is the third safety car, I believe, of this race, and that will give Ivan Ubertron a chance to get near Dulles Daniel. This is very exciting. What a recovery drive from Ivan Ubertron, who will be just behind Dulles Daniel for the safety car restart. We're on lap 24 out of 35. Just over 10 laps to go. Anything can happen in these 10 laps, so Dulles Daniel will still be having to play it safe when he's defending and attacking on Imanubitron. Let's take a look at some of the data we have here. Position changes. We got Zippy Bumper moving up 4 positions, the most out of anybody here. Sorry, correction. Isoskit's moving up 8, who I believe started P15. So that is, or P14. So that is has been a pretty good race for Isoskits here. Even though they're coming last right now, but P7 still gets good points. And as last time, Isoskits is at the front of the safety car, but Isoskits isn't between Duels Daniel and Imanubitron, so that won't prevent Imanubitron from getting past Duels Daniel on the safety car restart. If we take a look at our pit stops, Beano's taken 3 pit stops, everyone else is just on 1. Isoskits on 11 lap old tyres, but we're going to be focusing on the front 2 drivers here who are both on 10 lap old tyres. So they're going to be very equal in pace, and so give them the best chance to take the win here at Hungary and Budapest. But we got the Mercedes of Gordo AU coming into the pit lane. Impossible, yeah, as I thought it would be, softs for Gordo. No front wing change, so it was a strategical decision to go into the softs. It will put Gordo in P5 on the safety car restart. But that pace advantage of 0 lap old softs on 10 lap old hards will be quite noticeable on the safety car restart. So Gordo, that was a pretty I reckon that decision to go onto softs will benefit Gordo in these coming laps. All the drivers waving to warm up their tyres for this 3rd safety car restart. They've all done it 2 times before, so they know the drill. As always, Duels Daniel at the front leading the safety car restart. Maybe the safety car is coming this lap or next lap, we will see. The only driver with penalties at the moment is Bean OCE with 3 seconds of penalties, but Isoskits is too far behind to even make those 3 seconds of penalties worth anything really, because Bean OCE will probably just maintain P6 unless Isoskits can catch up before the safety car restarts. So DRS will be enabled only 3 laps after the safety car, so they will, Imanubitron will probably have to wait a few more laps if they want to have a good chance getting past Duels Daniel. But the safety car not going in this lap, it's going out for another lap, probably 1 more lap, and it will be coming in next time around. The only team today that has not retired at all is Red Bull, who has 2 drivers running right now in P1 and P3. So, as I mentioned before, with the constructor standings, this will play a huge role in increasing the advantage over McLaren and Williams. But Imanubitron, as I said before, in the drive standings, getting P1 could be vital for winning the drive standings for Season 1 of the Oceania Racing League and Div 2. But remember, this is only round 6, so after this there'll be 3 more rounds, which you should tune into to follow this battle of Imanubitron and Duels Daniel. race control has just told us that the safety car is in this lap. All the drivers weaving in sync, warming up their tyres for the safety car restart. Dawes Daniel has gotten good safety car restarts for the past few laps. So let's see what Imanubitron can do. It's a Red Bull sandwich for Imanubitron. Let's see if the Williams can try and take the lead from Dawes Daniel, but Dawes Daniel's got a very good safety car restart, who's already built up a pretty distant gap, and there's yellow flags back there. That's the Mercedes of Gordo, I think, who spun out back there, and that's McLaren of Ice getting past. Meanwhile, the top 4 cars all seem to have a decent gap between each other, so no movements in the field there, and same with the rest of the cars. All Imanubitron has to do now is just stay within 1 second of Dawes Daniel, and then Imanubitron will have a very decent chance of getting past. But we got Zippy Bumper only 3 tenths behind Imanubitron, who will be deploying his ERS here to possibly get past in this next corner. That's a very tricky corner to get past, and he wasn't quite close enough, so he just sticks behind. But he's very close. Could this be a Red Bull 1-2 at the Hungaroring? Could be one of the best races for Red Bull in the Oceania Racing League. That's the Aston Martin of Lakerfan, just behind Zippy Bumper. So, what was a 3-car battle before in the first laps of this race probably might be a 4-lap battle now between Lakerfan, Zippy Bumper, Imanubitron, and Dawes Daniel. And as DRS is enabled in these past few laps, they're all going to be very close to each other, and a possible triple slipstream, which could give Lakerfan some good pace. Let's see if anyone can get past in this straight here. Doesn't look like it. They all got a pretty decent gap between each other. The Red Bull of Zippy Bumper sending it down the inside into turn 1. That was very surprising. I was about to say that Zippy Bumper was too far behind, but Zippy Bumper has nearly gotten that move done. But they're going side by side into this next corner here. Imanubitron just staying ahead of them, and that's causing Lakerfan to get just behind the 2 of them because they're both battling. That's a 3-car battle here for P2. They're all maintaining their positions into the high-speed left-hander, but Imanubitron maintaining P2, and Imanubitron will still be stuck in this Red Bull sandwich. Lakerfan, as Lakerfan did in the early stages of this race, when Lakerfan used all that slipstream of the front 2 drivers and then took the lead surprisingly between Dawes Daniel and Imanubitron. Let's see if Lakerfan can do that again here on lap 28 or the following laps to come. I don't think DRS will be enabled yet on this straight here because I don't think it's been 3 laps yet, but it will be enabled the next lap, I'm pretty sure. Zippy Bumper just behind Imanubitron, and as I said before, DRS will be enabled next lap, and Zippy Bumper sending it down the inside on Imanubitron. Let's see if Imanubitron can stay in the Red Bull sandwich. Yes, he does, but Lakerfan, Zippy Bumper went really wide then to turn 1, which helps Lakerfan. And Lakerfan has what's happened with Lakerfan. Oh no, I think Lakerfan was going to go around the outside there, but Lakerfan got stuck on that curve, and that has given Bean OCE P4. Zippy Bumper just behind Imanubitron, who'll be looking to gain P2 and get a 1-2 for Red Bull. Bean OC, who also, let's see how many places Bean OC's moved up. Or Bean OC actually started P4, so Bean OC's just maintained their position, but they do have penalties worth 3 seconds, which will allow Lakerfan to actually get that P4 back, so Lakerfan Pro doesn't have much to worry about unless they drop their pace considerably. Going on to lap 30 soon now. After that, there'll only be 5 laps to go. We got DRS here. The top 5 drivers are all very close to each other. Let's see if anyone can get past here. That's that's a Red Bull spinning out there. Is that the Zippy Bumper? Yes, it is. I wasn't quite sure what happened there. I saw yellow flags, but Zippy Bumper has spun out, and that is Lakerfan just behind Bean OC. That's so unfortunate for Zippy Bumper, who was going to get a 1-2, or could have gotten a 1-2 for Red Bull. but now is down in P5. Still decent points for Red Bull today, but not what Zippy Bumper would have wanted. Ivan has gotten up into P2, or it has maintained P2 and will not be feeling the pressure from Zippy Bumper anymore. But let's see if BNOC can put some pressure on Ivan going into these final few laps here. Jules Daniel maintaining a comfortable lead and gap between themselves and Ivan. Meanwhile, Lakefan getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cutting warnings. And as I said before, BNOC with the 3-second penalty, Lakefan going up to P3, that won't happen anymore because Lakefan has also gotten a 3-second penalty. So now Lakefan, if they want any chance of getting a podium, they will have to overtake BNOC on the track. It can't be done with the timings anymore. BNOC getting a shocking exit there on the final corner, and Lakefan easily snatches the podium place from BNOC. Let's see if Lakefan, it's the top 3 drivers in the beginning of the race. They've met up again on the final few laps, and they're basically in the same order as they were before. They've all done this before, but let's see if let's see if Ivan can actually make the most out of the situation, because last time Ivan just got front wing damage. Let's see if Ivan can actually take the lead from Jules Daniel. There is an 8th, 10th gap, so that means that Ivan, if they maintain this distance, they will be getting DRS in the next straight. Keeps them nice and clean through that chicane, just trying to maintain that gap of under 1 second. It's 1.1 right now, but that can easily change in the coming few corners. Lakefan tailing just behind Ivan. We're nearly starting lap 32 here. There will only be 3 laps to go after that. Let's see if Lakefan can get anything done on Ivan. Only 7 cars left in this race. They're all getting points at the moment, even if they're coming last with a big gap between P7 and P6. But anyways, we've got to focus on the battle between Lakefan and Ivan here. They both have DRS, so it will be a double DRS slipstream for Lakefan, but Lakefan can't get anything done, but they will get DRS on this straight again. Lakefan's just behind Ivan, but they seem to be too far back to really get anything done. But Ivan with that double straights with the DRS, that has gained him around 5/10 from what the gap was before. So if it stays at this race, it will give Ivan a good chance at getting the lead from Jules Daniel. Meanwhile, Zippy Bumper gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cuttings, and BNOC will also be looking to get that spot back from Lakefan for the podium. So lots of the drivers getting 30-second time penalties here, but they're all on 3 seconds, so they will all cancel out for each other. But that leaves only Jules Daniel and Ivan realistically to be taking the lead here. Isis gets spinning out again into turn 1. Let's see if Lakefan can do anything here. Bit far back, really, I reckon, to get anything done. Or maybe not. They've got a good exit. They've got DRS. Let's see if Lakefan can snatch P2 from Ivan. Just a bit too far back to really get anything done there. But Lakefan is just on the tail of Ivan going into this next straight. Let's see if Lakefan can send it around the outside. No, he can't, but there's still 2 laps to go after this. Lakefan is just behind Ivan. This is pretty, they're pretty like equal drivers in terms of pace. So is that BNOC? Yes, it is. BNOC has lost it. I thought I saw the back tires of BNOC being spinning out there, and that has been confirmed with BNOC dropping down into P5, which allows Zippy Bumper, who did spin out before, to jump up into P4. Let's put our gaps back on and turn off our data so we can see what's going on in terms of who's battling who. We've got Lakefan only 6/10 behind Ivan, and Ivan only 6/10 behind Jules Daniel, so they'll got very similar gaps between each other. Beano C spinning out again. Probably their tyres had gravel on them or had just cooled down. But we got to focus on I'm a Neutron right now and Laker Fan, who are very close to each other. Both have DRS. Going into turn 1, they can't get anything done, just maintaining their positions. This lap seems to be going to the final. This battle, sorry, seems to be going to the final lap of this race. So we could possibly be having a very exciting last lap here at round 6 in Budapest. But Laker Fan just has to maintain that gap. Laker Fan possibly going up the inside into this corner. No, Laker Fan doesn't. But that looked very promising from Laker Fan there. Laker Fan has had such a good race today in qualifying. I really want to see Laker Fan getting past I'm a Neutron, but I'm a Neutron also has to get those points for the Drivers' Championship, so I'm rooting for both of them. Approaching the final lap of this race now, coming around the final corners of the last sector. Let's see if Laker Fan can get anything done. There's a pretty decent gap between I'm Neutron and Laker Fan, so I'm not sure if anything could be done on this next straight here. But if Laker Fan somehow gets an amazing exit, Laker Fan could take P2 from I'm Neutron, and as I said before, Laker Fan has gotten an amazing exit. DRS deployed. I don't think I'm Neutron has DRS though. So that puts Laker Fan into the lead. Will I'm a Neutron send it down to turn 1? No, he doesn't. But there's another straight here, which might give I'm a Neutron an opportunity to get past. But I'm a Neutron is already 7 tenths behind. So that seems to be Laker Fan for P2 right now. But regardless, they're all on the podium. They're all getting decent points. But it will just mean that Jules Daniel gets a really nice lead in the Drivers' Championship. Red Bull also getting good points for the Constructors' Championship, and Gordo and Bean also snatching some points for Mercedes and Haas. As we ride on board with Jules Daniel here on his final lap of the race. What a race it's been from Jules Daniel, both qualifying and the race. He is a solid driver, very consistent, has good pace, and he always seems to put a good show on for us spectators. Nearly lost it there. Not quite sure what happened. Imagine if he spun on the final corner, or the final few corners. But Jules Daniel rounding the final corner now. Round 6, Div 2, Oceania Racing League. He will be taking the win here at Budapest and getting the maximum amount of points for his team. Laker Fan just behind him. What a race it was from Laker Fan getting P2. And I'm a Neutron. Hang on, Laker Fan must have had a penalty. I didn't see that, but I'm a Neutron must have gone up to P2. So that will actually make the Drivers' Championship even closer than I thought it would have been at the end of this race between Jules Daniel and Ivan Nubishon. Zippy Bumper getting good points for Red Bull as well. Gordo finishing in the Mercedes, showing off on the final lap. It's been a great race from Gordo and from everyone in general. We got Beano C, who had a good qualified P4, but just had a bit of an unfortunate race with the spinning out. But regardless, Beano C P6, which will get him decent points for the race as well. As he comes around the final corner now. Not sure if he's run out of fuel or what's happened to him, but he's coming very slowly around the final corner, but he will be finishing this race in P6. Quite surprising how many drivers we had to retire from the race today, but it was a very thrilling and entertaining race for me and probably you guys who are watching today. Zippy Bumper getting driver of the day, which I completely agree with. What a race it was from both the Red Bulls there. And they will be getting good points for their team. Not the first podium for Jules Daniel. He's gained a lot of experience through these races, and he takes first, or the lead of he wins the Hungarian Grand Prix after countless wins in the previous races. What a race it was from Red Bull today, and also from Ivan Nubitron. It was unfortunate with that damage in the beginning. He probably would have had a better chance to get the lead earlier in the race if he didn't get that damage, but regardless, he's still P2, and it's still good points for both of them. Laker fan in P3, good points for him as well, and for Aston Martin, who hasn't been getting that many points in Div 2 in Division 3 here, so it'll be good points for Aston Martin as well. So thank you guys for coming along to this race today. It was very thrilling, and we put these shows on for you guys, so thanks for coming along. And I'll see you next Sunday for round 7 of the Oceania Racing League.